Good morning, everybody, or probably to the three people who have logged in to listen to this. And you know what? I appreciate you three people who've logged in to listen to this. We're down to about 5% of the class actually showing up, and that's fine. I get it. Marks are all locked in. There's not much they can do. So I hope that for those of you who are showing up, it's because looking over this script is actually a bit informative and a lot of fun. If you have a desire, the movie A Few Good Men is on Netflix. I would highly recommend that you watch it. It is rated R. There is some violence, as you know from the opening scene that we read. There's not a ton of violence, and in fact, I wouldn't say there's very much violence at all. There's not any blood oozing from anybody at any point. There's no sexual issues to deal with. There is language, strong language. You're dealing with Marines. And indeed, there is some strong language of a very derogatory manner that you would have to be ready for. Joanne Galloway, as a woman, is intimidated and threatened and put down because of her status as a woman. And at one point, somebody even throws in sexual innuendo in order to try and intimidate her more. Outside of that, it's a pretty easy film to watch with your parents, depending on, of course, the comfort level of you and your family. If you want to read the script from beginning to end before you watch the movie, I will include it as an attachment on today's lesson. Because we have spent our time looking at the structure of the script, how it's set up so that it's easy to understand by the people who need to read it. We've looked at the descriptions written within the script and how we try and evoke an emotional appeal with what we write. We've looked at the dialogue and how it helps to form the character, right? Is the line supposed to be delivered sarcastically or sincerely? Is the line delivered with a sense of confidence, or is it delivered without a sense of confidence? Today we're going to look at how the dialogue helps to advance the story by trying to give the audience as much information as they need to understand what's going on, but without beating them over the head with the information, right? You don't want dialogue to say, we are going to walk up to this haunted house and I'm sure there are ghosts in there and it is going to be scary, because that kind of expository dialogue never works well once it's on film. And if it does work well, you'd better credit your actor for being able to pull it off. So, Dan Caffey and Sam Weinberg have been assigned by division as well as their direct commander to work on this case. They are walking over to Joe Galloway's office. These people haven't met yet. They don't know Joe Galloway. She doesn't know them. And this really great dynamic between the three characters, the studious, very responsible Weinberg, the laid-back, charming, but exceptionally bright Dan Caffey, and of course Joe Galloway, the by-the-book, absolutely bend no rules kind of person. This group of three is going to be a wonderful part of why this movie is so good, and obviously with the actors who they chose to play them. So off we go. Interior, Joe's office, daytime. Joanne sits behind her desk. Caffey and Sam stand in the doorway. Caffey knocks politely. Joanne looks up. Caffey. Hi, I'm Dan Caffey. I was told to meet with... And now he starts ruffling through his notes because to Caffey, details aren't important. He doesn't even know the name of the person he's meeting with. He has to look it back up on the piece of paper. Checks his notes. Commander Galloway? Joe's staring at him. She is not impressed. Caffey doesn't know why she's staring at him, but she's not impressed. This is obviously a young lawyer. This is a serious case, and she's wondering, this is who division assigned? Caffey breaks the silence by saying, about a meeting? Joe's finding this all hard to believe. Joe, you're the attorney that division assigned? Caffey, I'm lead counsel. This is Sam Weinberg. Sam pulls out the same joke that he did in the last scene. I have no responsibilities here whatsoever. Joe is really puzzled. I would even say upset at this point, because she knows this is a bit of a joke. Come in, please, have a seat. Sam and Caffey enter the office and sit down. Joe continues. Lieutenant, how long have you been in the Navy? Caffey answers her. Going on 9 months now. And Joanne, and how long have you been out of law school? Caffey, a little over a year. Joanne takes a beat, right? Lets a moment pass by. I see. Kathy knows now that something's up. Have I done something wrong? Joanne. No, I was just, no. It's just when I petitioned division to have counsel assigned, I was hoping I'd be taken seriously. Kathy and Sam exchange a look, now knowing what she's really saying in her subtext. Kathy says to Joanne, no offense taken, if you were wondering. He kind of blows it off. One, to address the fact that it is offensive, and two, because that's his nature. Even though there is stress in the moment, he knows that charming people and pulling them in gets him much further than if he's going to be defensive. So Sam comes to his defense, because remember, Sam's his friend, and not only that, they work well together. Says directly to Joe, Commander, Lieutenant Caffey is generally considered to be the best litigator in our office. He successfully plea bargained 44 cases in 9 months. Now, if you don't know what a plea bargain is, before things go to trial, lawyers do try to work it out without having to go to trial. They know that trials are time-consuming, they're costly, and, excuse me, if you go to trial, you don't really know necessarily if you're going to win or lose. A plea bargain is when the lawyers get together and they make an arrangement, much like he did with Spaulding at the scene at the baseball diamond. That scene was a setup to help you understand what this scene is about, a plea bargain. Let's make a deal. B misdemeanor, 15 days in the brig. B misdemeanor, 30 days in the brig. C misdemeanor, 15 days restricted duty. This is bargaining the plea that we will make in front of the judge. And then once the lawyers have made that arrangement, then at a quick trial, both lawyers say, Your Honor, we have agreed to C misdemeanor, 15 days restricted duty. And the judge says, let it be entered in the record, and the trial's over in seconds. So, Caffey has successfully plea bargained 44 cases in 9 months. What does that mean? It means he doesn't go to trial very often. He's so smart that he's able to make sure his clients get the best possible deal without ever having to step into the courtroom. Caffey makes a joke. One more plea bargain, I get a set of steak knives. For those of you who are younger, you may not understand the reference. A set of steak knives was always a bonus gift being given away anytime you ordered something off of television. In the 70s and 80s, it was almost a joke, and it is a joke in this case. Ask your parents, right? A set of steak knives is always the bonus gift that you would be getting if you bought something off of a TV infomercial. So Joanne again recognizes, this is smart dialogue. Joanne recognizes what he's saying. Successfully plea bargained 44 cases in 9 months. So she asks, have you ever been in a courtroom? Caffey becomes sarcastic and a little defensive. I once had my driver's license suspended. Sam jumps in to protect him. He knows that he should not be messing with people because it's not going to work out well. So, Danny. Now, Caffey jumps in to show that he's not some fool, to show that he has a sharp legal mind. Commander, from what I understand, if this thing goes to trial, your clients won't need a lawyer, they'll need a priest. Joanne is a by-the-book, intelligent person, and she fires back. No, they'll need a lawyer. During this, she hands Caffey a series of files having to do with the case, which Caffey promptly passes directly to Sam without even glancing at them, right? It's like, hey Sam, here's our homework, would you take it please? Joe begins to explain. Dawson's family has been contacted. Downey's closest living relative is Ginny Miller, his aunt on his mother's side. She has not been contacted yet. None of this means anything to Caffey. He's not a detail guy. Joanne continues. Would you like me to take care of that? Caffey. Sure, if you feel like it. He's being a little cold and a little distant because he's not overly impressed with how he's being treated. Joe takes another beat to size this guy up. Joanne continues. One of the people you'll be speaking to down there is Barracks CO, Colonel Nathan Jessup. I assume you've heard of him. Caffey. Who hasn't? But Caffey hasn't, because he's not a details guy. He lays back for a moment, looks at Sam, and Sam explains directly to him. He's been in the newspapers lately. He's expected to be appointed Director of Operations for National Security Council. Caffey passes another file over. Joanne, these are letters that Santiago wrote in his 8 months at Gitmo. Sam makes a joke, whispers over, Guantanamo Bay. Caffey kind of laughs it off. I knew that one. It's a good moment of humor. Joe continues. He wrote his recruiter, the fleet commander, headquarters, Atlantic, even his senator. He wanted a transfer, and nobody was listening. Are you with me? Kaffee. Yes. Joanne. His last letter was to Naval Investigative Services. She hands Kaffee the letter, who hands it to Sam. Joe continues. Where he offers information about Corporal Dawson's fence line shooting in exchange for a transfer. This was just his last-ditch effort. Kaffee. Right. Is that all? Kaffee is not a details person. He doesn't want to know all this stuff. He just wants to know what the overall feel of the case is. Joanne says directly to Kaffee. Lieutenant, this letter makes it look like your client had a motive to kill Santiago. Kaffee. Got you. And now Kaffee's going to be a smartass. And Santiago is who? Joanne plays along. The victim. Kaffee says to Sam, write that down. So now he's making fun of Galloway. He's alpha dogging it, folks, and it's a really confident person who can talk to his superiors with that kind of an attitude. So it makes for a great concept for the movie. Now he's talking directly to Joe, and here comes the brilliant legal mind. Am I correct in assuming that these letters don't paint a flattering picture of Marine Corps life in Guantanamo Bay? Joanne can't keep up. Yes, among other, and in the middle of her sentence, Kaffee interrupts her. This is again an alpha male move. Am I further right in assuming that a protracted investigation of this incident might cause some embarrassment for the Security Council guy? He calls him the Security Council guy, right? This is Colonel Nathan Jessup, who is about to ascend to one of the 3 or 4 highest posts in the Navy, and he's calling him this Security Council guy. Again, Joanne can't keep up. Colonel Jessup, yes, but, and Kaffee interrupts, 12 years. Joanne's puzzled. I'm sorry? Kaffee, 12 years. I'll get them to knock up. I can get it knocked down to involuntary manslaughter. 12 years. Kaffee's already plea bargaining. Joanne points out, you haven't talked to a witness, you haven't looked at a piece of paper. Kaffee smiles. Impressive, huh? Joanne, you're going to have to go deeper than jest. And Kaffee interrupts again. Commander, do you have some sort of jurisdiction here that I should know about? My job is to make sure... Oh, sorry. And now we're back to Joe. I didn't see her name. Oh, there it is. It's at the bottom of the last page. So Kaffee wants to know if she has really superiority over him. And her answer? My job is to make sure you do your job. I'm special counsel for internal affairs, so my jurisdiction is pretty much in your face. Read the letters. You're not under any obligation, but I'd appreciate a report when you get back from Cuba. So now she's playing the alpha dog. She's basically saying, I'm your boss, like it or don't like it. You don't have to report to me when you get back from Cuba, but I'd really appreciate it. Which basically means report to me when you get back from Cuba. Kaffee knows when he's beaten, and he knows when he doesn't have to be beaten, but this time he's beaten, so he says, sure. Kaffee gets up without waiting for Joe to say anything, which in the military is a no-no. Joanne, you're dismissed. Kaffee pauses for a moment. He's being a jerk. Sorry, I always forget that part. And Kaffee's out the door. He doesn't wait a second longer. Sam stands in the doorway and pretty much apologizes for Kaffee's behavior. He's a little preoccupied. His team's playing Bethesda Medical next week. Back to softball. Joanne warns Weinberg, tell your friend not to get cute down there in Cuba. Those Marines in Guantanamo are fanatical. Sam questions, about what? Okay, so about what? Because in the Washington Naval Yard, nobody's fanatical. They just do their job and they play softball. But down in Guantanamo Bay, and if you don't know by now what Guantanamo Bay is, this is a major American installation right in the heart of Cuba, which is not a friend to the United States. The United States took this portion of Cuba back during the Cold War when Soviet missiles were discovered on the Cuban island, and America came in and said, you're going to have Russian missiles 90 miles off the coast of Florida? Well, then we're coming into your country and we're establishing a base. Try and kick us off. And it's been there ever since. So Guantanamo Bay is a point of contention amongst the world. It's the U.S. going in and establishing a forward position in a foreign country that did not give its permission, and a foreign country that is loyal to the Soviet Union. So Guantanamo Bay is a dangerous place. That's why there's a fence line. That's why there's guard towers. That's why there are people shooting over fences at one another. Okay, it's a hostile territory. I will attach the rest of this script. You decide whether or not you would like to read through it, and consider going to Netflix and watching the film. Talk to you tomorrow.